everyone can see that okay.
Shouldn't be that.
And I know Lauren said she's going to record this so that it'll be on y'all's YouTube channel and stuff if you missed it or have folks who want to hear it. But it's so nice to meet all of you. And just so you know, it's not actual poop on the picture. It was mud, but it was close enough. So didn't want to gross anybody out too much, you know. Um, this is really intended to be a nice, fun conversation, kind of to talk about when the poop hits the fan, but also kind of how do we the formal name is how do we really cultivate multi-sectoral relationships in times of crisis and calm. So it's more fun to talk about the poop hitting the fan because Lord knows we've all been through it in the last couple of years. The poop certainly hit the fan when we went through the pandemic, but when else does the poop hit the fan in your communities? Sometimes here in Colorado, when it's wildfire season or flood season, that kind of stuff, or, sometimes we get enough snow to have a blizzard. But when are other times that poop hits the fan out in Maryland? Do y'all get hurricanes out there? Yes, no, maybe. Okay,
Yes.
cool. So
Oh,
we certainly have other times when the poop hits the fan for us, for sure. Um, but that's what we're going to talk about is how Parks and Rec professionals, we really have to think, act, create, and respond in all types of creative and innovative ways. And I think COVID really showed us that all those rules, red tape, and all that other stuff we thought were all that important all went out the window when we had to create and make change and accommodate and still provide services and stuff for our folks in our communities. So I guess the big question is why should we talk about the poop hitting the fan? Because some of our best planning and our backups can go south. I mean, there's all sorts of disruptions that hit us in parks and recreation, and sometimes our communities look directly to us. But who do we look to? Who do we try to find support and resources and information and different ways to engage? So sometimes we have to find ourselves a new way to charter through this new territory when the poop hits the fan. Dealing with unexpected situations, looking for answers and solutions in right and wrong places. Who do we turn to for that guidance, a listening ear, camaraderie, support, brainstorming, all the good fun stuff that helps us be successful in providing our services to our community members? So that's what this session is about. And I really, please, 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 if you have questions, ask in the chat. Lauren, if you notice questions in the chat, don't hesitate to stop me because sometimes with my screen and all the ones I have open, I
mhm.
can't see when it comes up. So just let me know if we have any questions pop up.
Sure.
What did you have a question? Thought I heard someone talk.
Oh,
And if you're more comfortable having um, your video and stuff on, please do. If not, that's do what's comfortable for you. So I wanted to share a little bit about. Let's see. I wanted to share a little bit about where this session kind of came from. So during COVID, the collaborative that I'm actually the director of, which I'll tell you a little bit more about later, and Colorado Parks and Recreation Association and Colorado Public Health Association, and our Colorado Association of Local Public Health Officials. There's all this information flying all over the place, and it seemed like it was just going out into the ether. So we kind of took all of our different relationships and said, hey, we had the ability to connect each other to the right folks so that we can communicate congruently. There we go. We'll go with that word. All at the same time because we already had the relationships and partnerships built before our proverbial COVID poop hit the fan. And it was a great opportunity for us to take advantage of those that were in existence and stuff already. So there you go. So a little bit about me. I think for everyone, we're probably enjoying feeling a little bit of getting, I don't want to say back, moving forward into what our next phase of normal is going to look like. I'm tired of the new normal saying that kind of thing, but we have to make it. We can't fall back on what we were doing before. We've got to move our normal forward into what we can do with our community. So, um, learning different ways to stay innovative and have community connection and work together in ways we never thought was possible. So one of the reasons I was so excited to get to talk about this is I started looking back in my career when I was a camp director for multiple camps for kids with disabilities. And in my therapeutic recreation role, because I saw somebody else was a CTRS, it was imperative that we had partnerships in place that we worked with. So I realized those partnerships and relationships were a really, really key role in the success of the programs and the projects that I worked on. So um, that's one of the reasons I wanted to share. And yes, those are some really fun professional pictures of me doing what I do. So let's get started. This is what we're going to be doing today, and I want to invite you all to be engaged in as many ways as you want to be. We're going to be doing some fun stuff talking about are you an organization that people know, like, and trust? We're going to be using Mentimeter. So if you have your phone around, you can either log into Mentimeter on your phone or open another tab in your browser. We'll show you some fun way to do that. And I'll cue you when to grab those. And hopefully we'll have time, a little bit of time to do a breakout, but if not, we'll just do a large group share and stuff. So we'll make sure that happens as well. So right now I want to show you what else we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about relationships versus partnerships, multi-sectoral partnerships, identifying sectors that you can create as partnerships, some successful or beneficial partnerships that you may have experienced, or maybe some poopy ones. We've all had those too. Little small slash group share with all of us. And then some highlights of successful partnerships and some pitfalls to avoid and that kind of thing. And then a Q&A. So right now, if you have something in front of you to write on or whatever you normally take notes on, think about a partnership that you have already been engaged in, whether it was good or bad, and just jot that down because we're going to be talking about those partnerships you've had a little bit later and maybe what was really great about them or what was maybe not so great about them. Okay, sound good? Any thumbs up out there? Okay, woohoo!
Yep.
Everybody's still alive. This is always good, right? So there's the old adage that people do business with people they know, like, trust, and value. So we do it as customers with our potential places that we choose to go and buy things, and we do it with our potential partners, and they do it with us. So every time that we're about to engage in purchasing something, working together with someone, we immediately pretty much ask, do we know, like, trust, or value these folks? And whether it's community customers, our sponsors, our vendors, our partners, um, community organizations, not for profits that we might work with, all of those. So, last week I was I went to a storytelling workshop about using our stories to really share our brands and our customers with our customers and that kind of thing. And one of the very first things that this lady shared was that she mentioned immediately that people do business with people they know, like, believe in, and trust. So just know, and you are that start. And the key to that is people do business with people. And you, no matter what your role is in your Parks and Recreation organization, are some of those people. So whether it's your front desk staff, whether it's your director, whether it's your marketing crew, whether it's you, and whether you are in programming, whether you are in older adults, therapeutic recreation, no matter what, no matter where you are in your agency, you are those folks that they're looking to know, like, and trust. So we're constantly working on developing our knowledge, our skills, and trying to get better. So that fundamental rule might be people do business with people they know, like, trust, and value. Or with Parks and Rec, it might be organizations do businesses with organizations they know, like, trust, and value. But just know that you are that defining factor because if you're the first one they come in contact, that's where they're going to decide if they know, like, and trust your organization. And it may be someone else that they come into contact with first. And are they someone that other organizations and other people are going to know, like, and trust as well? So Henry Ford once said that you can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. Your reputation only comes after you make an investment, and a lasting influence is built and sustained by your reputation of how you engage with folks, how you engage with your community, how you engage with other organizations, and how your organization does that as well. So, this is why, with organizations and especially people in those organizations, we look for folks we know, like, and trust. And most of us, I think, know this, but I don't think we realize how important it is, that we kind of look at that know, like, trust, and value connection. Whether we go through simple but powerful processes of getting to know our folks, our future partners, increasing our likability factor, building trust with folks after following through or having an engagement with them and getting to know them well. And it can feel a little daunting at first. Like the first time you think, oh, it would be so great to partner with that school, or it would be so great to partner with that faith based organization. But who do I call? Who do I reach out to first? Who do I buy that first cup of coffee for so we can just sit down and start building a relationship? Because honestly, that's where it all starts. So we have to remember sometimes that simplest way to get to know people is to add value for them first. So what are we offering with our organization that adds value to our prospective partners that we want to have engaged with us? So whether that's membership or class or program or activities or rental space or participating on one of their boards or asking them to participate on one of ours. Those starts to relationships can, well, make things click for us. So it might be, let's see if it'll come in, is that maybe people do business with people. For one, we know that, and they do business with those they feel aligned with and comfortable. So, how do we create that place and space for our potential partners that we might need, want, desire for our organization to be aligned with us? Are we good at sharing what we're all about? So, that's another part of that as well. Okay. So how do you know? How do you know if your organization is an organization that the community knows, likes, and trusts? How do you know? Because we're no longer in that mass mailing thing where you get something. Well, some people still do it, but how effective is that? We don't get something from everyone. Everything has gotten down to these algorithms where everything gets specifically created and made for our customers and consumers. So, how do we know? We're going to talk about that. So, if you guys grab your phone and go to menti.com, and you're going to put in this, when it asks you for a meeting code, that's your meeting code, and I'll show it bigger here in just a second. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how we know. So, about 10 years ago or more, a couple decades ago, when I started working with the city of Lakewood, which is one of the municipalities I worked for, it's a suburban area of a suburb outside of Denver. When I first started working there, it was really apparent that the partnerships and the relationships internal, between the department that I was working with and the ones that worked around and with us, like the mayor's office and the printer's office and marketing, those had all been severed by the person previously working there. So I really had to start creating those from scratch because they'd all been busted up. So um, that is one of the ways I started learning how to work. How many of you do still do print? Do you still do like a printed newsletter or a printed um, activities guide, or have you completely gone to online? Is everybody, or both, or are you doing both?
It's both.
Both. Okay. So back a couple decades ago, we did everything printed, and um, they would wait for the print shop to print it and then send it out. Well, sometimes it was timely, sometimes it wasn't. And well, that didn't work for my folks with disabilities and stuff. They needed it and they needed it timely, or they would just be lost, dazed, and confused. So I learned how to do the stuff in our print shop. I went over and said, "Hi, I'm Joe. I'm with the Therapeutic Recreation Department, and y'all do this amazing job printing our newsletter. I want to learn how it works so I can support you, and so that you can know that I can come in and help when it happens, so you don't feel like you're just doing it all alone." And they were stunned. And in that one simple cross training effort, I built trust, create a connection, create a relationship with them, and they were super happy that I was there. So that when I asked them to do other things, oh my gosh, they volunteered and said, "Oh, I'll bump that up before what's going out of the other offices." So, sometimes that makes a difference, right? So let's jump over to Minty, and we're going to do a question there. So that first question, let's see if I can get that to come up for us. There we go. It's like bebopping everyone all around here. Where is my thing? Okay. So here you go. If you are in Minty, is everybody in Minty?
Mhm.
Doing okay with your phone? This is the question. So how do you know when people know, like, and trust you? There should be, you can put in, start entering your thoughts there, and it will show up for us. So it's kind of fun how that works. So there we go. They come to you for ideas and assistance. Oh, look, this is awesome, y'all. Thank you so much. They thank you. They keep coming back. They refer other people. That one's huge, isn't it? Those referrals. They smile. They come back and ask for ideas, repeat visitation. They tell you. Lord knows we've moved to our social economy. So those of you who are using, Facebook um, and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, that's right. The communication is open. Awesome. Y'all are fantastic. These are all great. They verbalize and write it, stuff that you can share with other folks. Great. Thanks so much for sharing that. We're going to go back and share here. You guys are spot on. You know exactly what it is. So those are all the things. They get the knowing right. They want to know what's happening with you, and it opens up, I think, the potential with future partners, especially when the poop hits the fan, is building it while the poop is not hitting the fan. So now is a really great time, kind of now that we're post COVID, we're moving into other possible things happening in the world, is to cultivate some of those folks that we might have called on while we were having the poop hit the fan. And now we're looking at, how do we know that our potential partners really get who we are? And are we getting who they really are? And I think one of the things that, talking to some of my other partners, is sometimes we forget to ask those for profit partners in our communities to be engaged, involved with us, because we wonder, okay, do they want to be involved with government? Do they want to be involved this way in the community? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, for sure. So I think this quote, about trust, kind of fits in with all the things y'all just put in the Minty. Was to trust you, or for your potential partner to trust. Um, the ones we choose, they've got to feel safe. And they've got to know that to test it too. So trust is about the intersection of the past and the future. It's taking the evidence of the past, sometimes our past and references, and extrapolating that into the future. Where can I go forward with this? And then being able to apply this information within the context of risk. So I know as organizations, sometimes it's like, okay, is the organization going to somehow get hurt with this partnership? Is the organization I'm trusting, could I possibly hurt them, and vice versa? So how do we keep that up? That is a big thing for sure. So one thing I want you guys to do now is if you think about you as a person, an individual, what are some of the agencies, organizations, brands, etc., that you use all the time because you know, like, and trust them? Like when you think about who is that? Put that in the chat. Like, are there folks that you automatically go back to them because they took care of you at some point in time, whether that, like, personally? Oh, MRPA, yay, CFA, Fun Express. Ooh, what's Fun Express, Genevieve?
It's just a place where we order stuff from, but we have really good relationships with the salespeople.
Perfect. And what if those salespeople were not fun?
Wouldn't go back.
Exactly. An SNS, Panera, Panera SSWW. What's that? Like the sandwich shop? Or different? Sharon?
SSWW is SNS Worldwide. It's the same as what Nancy
Oh,
put in there.
okay,
It's
okay, yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
the arts and crafts people.
Yes, yes. Okay, I haven't used them in a really long time.
Yeah,
Just
and
some
Fun Express is the corporate side of Oriental Trading.
Oh, okay, okay. Nice. And you guys said it, like the salespeople or the people that you work with are the ones that keep you coming back, right? That relationship you have with them. So key, so key. Thank you for sharing those. All right, so 5 signs of trust. These are fun. And you guys hit some of them, which was awesome. So people, um, when we look at trusting other individuals, whether that's salespeople, whether that's other Parks and Rec professionals, whether that's other professionals in other industries and that kind of stuff, we've got to look for how do we build trust with them with that relationship. So Jennifer Miller says these are 5 signs. People don't automatically question your motives. They know and respect them. You don't need to use your leadership title as a lever to get things done. That's another one. People will take the leap of faith with you. So you might have some crazy harebrained idea and ask a bunch of folks to be involved, and they're like, yep, I'm in. You're doing it means I'm in. Or the other way around. It's like, oh, Genevieve is doing it, I'm so in. Like I have a couple folks that I work with through the schools, higher education, parks, public health, that if they ask me, because I've built this huge relationship and partnership with them, they don't even have to tell me what it is. I'm just like, just count me in, tell me what I need to do. And I know y'all have people that do that too, that you do that too. The other one is long justifications aren't needed. You don't have to explain yourself thoroughly. Whereas with a new partner, you may very well have to really spell it out. And that's very good that that communication is open to be able to do that. And people confide their dreams to you. They tell you some of the big stuff that they're hoping to be able to do, for sure. So, yeah. Ah, Genevieve. Terry's one of those people for her. That's awesome. Very cool. All right, so some signs of trust there. So, relationship versus partnership. When I was doing some research for this, it was like, oh, this is so good to put into words because we need both of them. And the really biggest difference is one is long term and one is short term. So, I want to share some definitions with you so we're playing on the same page, okay? So, what are they? Relationships are typically ongoing connection that may or may not outlive our current circumstances. So, a relationship is short term. It's something that you may have that relationship with a help person on the phone because you desperately want help with your computer. That's a relationship. You may have somebody that you rely on or talk to or with your customers who come in every day, the ones that you're just starting to know for those moments that you might be doing some customer service with them. And then you have partnerships. Partnerships are more long term. It's a commitment to an ongoing relationship. Those partnerships get deeper. We know it's we know that sometimes breakdowns will occur. We know that we have to take more effort to make sure our communication is clear. We know if something isn't, that we're going to work to like build that back up and rectify that to make sure that we continue to build that partnership and that trust and that likability. It's how we choose to do business. It's different than just having a relationship with a vendor that we might use once to order our toilet paper. It could become a partnership over time. And then I bet many of you also have sponsorships. And that's an arrangement that's a little bit different where a company helps fund something. It might be a program, it might be an activity, it might be a convention or a special event that you're using. And a sponsorship is something that can grow into a partnership if when we work at it, but essentially it's a much more transactional relationship. But that's the key there is when we look at transaction, when we look at relationship, when we look at partnership, sponsorship, those are all nouns, those are all things. And what we want to do is turn it into a verb. We want to try to see if we can be in a state of becoming. So rather than a ship, we want to relate or commit or sponsor or partner and make it an active thing that's growing and sets the tone for something that can grow into something that's mutually beneficial, right? Perfect. So, what are multi-sectoral partnerships and why do we need them? So, those really come around when we're trying to solve those big systemic problems going on in our communities, whether that's reducing obesity, whether that's changing access into equitable access to health within our communities. Think of those big, hairy problems that we're trying to solve community wide. That's when we need multi-sector folks. That's when community members frequently realize that they can't sit around and wait for the experts to do it. We're seeing this happen a lot with social justice, with environmental justice, with health equity, with equitable service and equitable access to healthcare, and all the different health. So folks in the community say, you know, enough waiting. We're going to put together something and we're going to invite these people to partner with us. But it also goes the other way around. If we've got something big that we're trying to solve, we want to invite other partners, our folks in the communities, our own organizations, and look for folks who are doing it well. For-profit businesses, not-for-profit organizations, our community-based organizations and community-led organizations. That's the big tipper right there. So when looking at a definition, what are those big multi-sector collaborations? It's those partnerships that result from bringing together government, not-for-profits, private, public sector, community, individuals to solve a bigger problem in the community that affects the whole community. So when you identify those in your community, it's like, okay, we know this is going to take more than just two organizations. Because what happens when we don't reach out from a multi-sector standpoint to try to solve these big community problems is that we come up with these really great solutions, but not everybody's voice was there. So it's a solution for a few people, but not for all the people. And then we have to start at square one again because we have to bring in the folks that really should have been there in the first place. So starting out with all the folks we need there typically makes it work better. It takes less time when we have those. So cool. So I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to see. If not, we're going to switch over to a different thing. Can y'all hear it?
Nope.
Okay. Let me switch to the other screen and we'll show it to you this way. All right. There we go. Hopefully this worked before. Can y'all see it and hear it? It's about to start. Huh?
I think I hear it.
Hold on, I'm turning up my volume. I think it's better when it starts talking.
The shortest distance
Yeah.
between 2 points
You can hear it?
is always collaboration. Is always partnership. We began the project with everybody thrilled with one another and so excited about what it was we were embarking upon. Brand new public-private partnership, not anything we had ever done before.
We began to work with the partners who we'd already been working with on affordable housing developments to say, how can we better align our work?
Well, the early conversations really dealt with this concept. Could this be done? Could a private institution in the city form a private public partnership that could work?
In the beginning, everyone was a skeptic. I was a skeptic. Everyone was a skeptic. Nobody had ever done it. One of the things that we've learned is that co-location doesn't by itself equal coordination or collaboration.
There were so many different dimensions to this: the design, the programming, the use of the land, the financing of the project.
Very different cultures, very different operating styles.
Some of us approach issues from the neighborhood level, some from an institutional level, some from the governmental level.
None of us use the same data system, so some use Salesforce and some use efforts to outcomes to Excel to like completely different systems.
We went back and forth about the allotment of parking spaces for staff at one point. When we were talking, we thought we were talking about the same thing, but we weren't. Perfection can be the enemy of the very, very good. We know that we're never going to get everything right in every community the first time, but we've got to try some new things. It's just critical that the leaders in these organizations understand and value that partnership.
What has made it work is that we're all committed to stay at the table until we find the third way.
I think having trust early on is critical, and you develop trust by getting to know each other, by being honest, by being forthright.
A strong point for us to come back to what our vision is around creating this healthy neighborhood, and then working with the coalition and working with the partners around understanding the vision.
And in about year 3 or year 4, you will have felt you were doing a whole lot of work and you haven't seen much change yet. But what happens when you get to about year 5, you blow right through that wall. It's really exciting work. It's exciting work because people's lives are really changed. In terms of what we will be able to bring to the neighborhood, the additional services, the increased access to all kinds of services, we absolutely think this was worth it.
Without this collaboration, we're paying a pound of cure for things that an ounce of prevention would address.
You're naive to think that you can do something like this alone. You can't.
The magic is the partnerships. Forming them, maintaining them will get you more resources, more innovation, more creativity. And if we can get out of the silos that we've been in, I think it's going to be much more effective. And I think we've got a great opportunity now.
So I think it's that intersection that is what the driver and what will really change communities for forever.
Sweet. Any questions about that video? They were actually working on a very big multi-sector collaboration in one in the Northwest or San Francisco, kind of that kind of area, in the Oakland area, and one over in Philly and stuff. So kind of the epitome, I think one of the ladies said it so well, was that the shortest distance between two places to get something accomplished was collaboration, which is huge. And because I think sometimes we get to that place where they're like, oh, well, if we collaborate and stuff, it's really going to be a challenge. And yes, it does. It takes a lot of different time because it takes a lot of effort to get everybody's info in there and get people on board, because I don't think sometimes we spend as much time as we know it's going to take, or a lot as much time as it's going to take for us to really place the foundations and put in and create the relationships that lead to true partnership. So I wanted to tell you about our collaborative here, the Colorado Public Health Parks and Recreation Collaborative. This is the one that I'm the director for here, and we've got over, I think, 75, 90 agencies involved in public health, parks and recreation, built environment, community agencies, and several nonprofits. And we work on multi-sector education. Um, it's challenging. We don't always disagree. And oh my Lord, for the first year, we didn't all speak the same language, even close. So we had to really focus on the fact that we were hoping to build up and lift up community health and break down our silos, put our egos and logos aside, and really start looking at how do we share resources? How do we knock down all those walls that existed amongst our organizations um, and our sectors and build bridges. So that's another fun thing that I do. So it makes it neat. So you guys know that I'm not just talking about this as an ideal and a theory. I actually do it in practice. So let's talk about some of the sectors that we work with. Parks and recreation is such a big key to building some of those multi-sector relationships for solving larger problems in your community or even smaller problems. If you're looking at how everybody's working together to rent and use fields, or your active adult centers and that kind of stuff. We sometimes, as Parks and Rec, are those folks who already have good relationships established with our communities. I mean, y'all know that. And I think other agencies and stuff want that too, but they're not really sure how to do it. And it's one of the things that I think we as a profession do really well. So here's some of those others. Public health is one, built environment, traffic, infrastructure, especially if you're building up health and wanting to provide or grow more lanes for biking, that kinds of stuff. Community-based organizations, nonprofits, higher ed, for-profit. Don't forget your businesses. Especially ones who have philosophies and missions of lifting up the community or something around there that has to do with help. They want to be engaged and they want to help. And then any of our diverse organizations and stuff as well. So what are some of the partners y'all currently have? If y'all are writing in the chat, who are you currently doing things with in your community? Anybody involved or engaged in budding partnerships, current partners that may or may not have been there with you? Sorry, Amy had to leave early. No worries, Amy. Anybody else involved in partnerships currently? Or are you wanting to build some? Yay, the special ed PTA. Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Six Flags,
Six Flags. Oh, that's great.
Department of Family Services.
Oh, very cool. Department of Family Services. Yep. Nice. Cool. Rockville Seniors. Great. All the agencies, nonprofits, high schools. Holy Cross Hospital. Excellent. Really great opportunity involved in health. It can be all sorts of different stuff. Great. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. So were some of those ones that you were engaged with during COVID, after COVID? Are they ones that you rely on or look to when y'all are going through major disasters, challenges, poops hitting the fan, that kind of stuff now or before? Anybody want to share?
So I was in my partnerships before, but I consider them relationships.
Yeah.
So I just don't go to them when I need something.
Yeah.
Keep in constant contact with them.
Nice. Sometimes that transferring something from a relationship to a partnership is how do we show them we value them, and what does that look like to kind of step up that value and trust partner? Cool. So one of the things I did for this for this session and stuff is starting last year, I started sending out a partnership survey to all sorts of different folks in our partnerships and all just pretty much everywhere I went to go talk and that kind of stuff. So asking them where their partners were before COVID. So you can see some of the big ones were interdepartment ones within your agencies, some sponsors. I was very, very happy to see that no one had no partners. So that was good. A lot of folks have some faith-based folks. Public-private partnerships are a big one. And then some coalitions and stuff as well. So that was really cool to see that. So is there anyone that in the midst of any current poop hitting the fan situation that you wished you had as a partner in the thick of it? Like, can you think of anybody you would love to have a partner with now if a hurricane hit down the road or flooding or that kind of stuff that you don't currently have? Anybody know? Anyone have one?
I guess for us, for MRPA, the health industry,
Yeah.
for possibly sponsorships and
Yeah.
for our events. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, if you need some help starting those, Lauren, let me know. I'd be happy to talk with you about how to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Sometimes it's finding the right person and asking them out for a coffee.
Gotcha.
Just okay, like you find the stuff you have in common agency wise, and then sometimes it's that one-on-one planting the seed kind of thing and having a coffee with them and that kind of stuff. Lord knows that goes over well. Cool. Anybody else? Didn't see if there was any more. Okay, thanks for sharing. All right. So what makes a partnership successful? This is the time to grab your phone again. You have the opportunity to add some different, this is the next question, to add some different kinds of things so you can see what are things that make them beneficial, what makes them work, what makes partnership work. So I'm going to stop this share if everybody's got though. It should be when you go back to it that you actually go right back into it. So hopefully it'll work how it's designed and we'll get to go to the next question. There we go. What makes a partnership successful and mutually beneficial for you? Nice, some different things, same values, same ideas. Perfect. Thanks for sharing those, y'all. I appreciate it. Beautiful. Both parties gain something, follow through, communication, reliability, trust, consistency. Great. Great, great, great. I think we're over to the next one. But I wanted to read those for you so y'all knew what they were. So can y'all see this? Are we on the correct, Lauren, can we see the graph?
Yeah.
Perfect. I've switched views quite a few times. I just wanted to make sure. So these are the things that our survey said. So make it meaningful contributions to the community, resource sharing. The next highest one was find solutions to problems and challenges. The other highest one was resource sharing. That was really beneficial for them. Be able to do more with less. The green one is build capacity. Grow identities and that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things that they found were beneficial. So here's some different characteristics of unstoppable partnerships. So they're supportive. You're able to talk about things when they're hard and challenge those big problems. It's rewarding. You have an opportunity to work with people that you enjoy and that are engaging. And you start to see the fruits of your labor. In that large project we saw in the video, it was like 4 or 5 years. We're starting to see now at year 9 a lot of things happening in our collaborative and coalitions that we didn't see up front because we were, testing all the waters and learning everything about each other. It was challenging. There's cohesion, meaning there's trust and open communication, which is exactly what y'all just put on the Wordle and that kind of thing. That's also that it's open. People can talk about what's challenging. People can be open and trust and say what's really going on and why it's challenging or why it's going well. And it's transparent. So open and transparency is good too, and what folks can contribute to that partnership. It's protective, that you take care of each other, meaning that you're going to watch the partnerships when they're multi-sectoral are going to watch over each other and not just their own. It's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge. So you're going to stand up and be present when it's challenging. It can be a catalyst for new and great things. Different organizations and agencies may be the catalyst for your organization to be able to do something different. It keeps up morale, or you have a good morale and it keeps moving forward. It doesn't stop at a standstill. You're willing to cleanse the toxic people out when it gets to a place where you've got somebody who are an agency or a person that may be trying to hold the partnership back, and as a whole you're willing to say nope, you're creating a toxic environment and we need to move on without you. Which I know a lot of folks, we're like, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but we have to step up to that. Is it hurting what we're trying to do? Is it hurting our mission? And then it's based in service, not selfishness. So we really are in a situation where we're focused on that end goal, and that's what we're going to stay focused on, is in that service, not just what we can individually do as an individual, a professional, or an organization. So now I want to do a little small group sharing, meaning with just this crew here. So remember at the beginning, I asked y'all to think about a partnership that you're already involved in, either one that you've had in the past that was good or was not so good. Want to take a little time in chat, to share any of those that from the partnership that you had. What are some of the things that you have appreciated about your partnerships, challenges that you've had, things that you wish could be different with some of the partnerships that you may already exist in. I know y'all are in the small pool of Maryland, so if you want to keep the agency or organization confidential, that's okay too. Anybody open to sharing?
So here in Rockville, we have a partnership with a nonprofit, and I think I put it in the chat. It's called Rockville Seniors Inc. And it's a nonprofit that is their main purpose is to fundraise for senior services.
Nice.
So they fundraise. We give them free space in the building to do events. They have a thrift shop and a gift shop. And all the money that they raise eventually comes back to senior services, so we can use it to buy something that's not in the city budget.
Oh, that's spectacular.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So y'all use it as a sort of a fundraising arm to access resources you wouldn't otherwise be able to.
Exactly. And we also apply for grants that we wouldn't as a government be able to apply for, and the money funnels through RSI rather than through the city budget.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Congratulations on that. Anybody else like to share? Sharon said that they can tap into those resources that a government can't. Yeah, sometimes we're limited by that, but other agencies are not. Yeah.
I would say our partnership with NRPA.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of trainings and certifications with them, so
yeah,
maintaining a good relationship helps.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and they have a much bigger budget for like legislative kinds of things and different stuff sometimes that those state budgets don't, which is really nice to be able to do that. Cool. Thanks for sharing, y'all. Appreciate it. All right. So thanks for sharing your highlights. Some of the benefits and that kind of stuff that we've heard over other sessions and through our surveys is increase funding, which you guys totally talked about, build capacity, offer your staff new opportunities to engage, cross-train over some different kinds of stuff. Some partnership killers have been when they look at sharing capital instead of sharing expenses. Sometimes a partner might want to work with you because they can't afford to hire someone, and so they're looking for you to help provide them. Different kinds of things that kind of don't keep the partnership in a transparent, equitable type of place. So avoiding those pitfalls is good. So here are some of the lessons learned that came from our survey. So examine what, why, and how those expectations. It has to be give and take. The big picture vision can be difficult, but we have to share it and make sure everybody's on the same page. When to cut your losses. Sometimes a partnership doesn't work, and you really need to know when to say, we're done. And it's okay, and try to do that gracefully. And communication is clear, outcomes, benefits, got to be invested to help. One partner can't be the only one. How to gracefully fail and still maintain hope to move forward. That was a great one. And then it's got to be equitable. It can't be one-sided. So I quickly wanted to share some results with y'all from support during COVID. It was very, very apparent that during COVID, or this poop hitting the fan, it was our own agencies that all of the respondents tended to rely on most. But when it came to information sharing during COVID, they really relied on like state resources and that kind of stuff, as well as local government and that kind of thing around COVID. Same kind of thing can apply when we start looking at other issues, whether that's wildfires, floods, hurricanes, large electrical outages and stuff where everything goes down too. These are the results where we started looking at what's important to you as practitioners and professionals in partnerships. And the big number one was definitely communication. And the second one was a trusting relationship. So that's where the big stuff comes from. How well do we communicate, and how can we build that trusting relationship? And we asked the same question based on organization. So what's important to your organization as qualities? And it was interesting because that ended up being, is it mutually beneficial? But also communication, that trusting relationship, and also innovation. How can we create new and different things? The biggest surprise to me from what we talked about before at the beginning, when we talked about know, like, trust, value, is that both individuals and organizations rated likability the lowest. And we all know that's part of it. And I think we kind of hesitate to go, oh, it's really not that important if they like me. Well, guess what? It is, because we all use it to base who we choose to partner with or be a consumer or customer of. But yet we don't rate it very high in our survey results. So kind of some subtle different things going on there. And then at this time, I just want to give you guys and all of you an opportunity, if you'd like, if you have any questions, we can do that. And if y'all are data nerds like me and want to know where all this info comes from, there you can take a picture of your screen, or it's also going to be in the recording and that kind of stuff as well. But I think we have a couple minutes left if y'all have any questions. But that's, what happens when we try to turn to multi-sector partnerships. When the poop hits the fan, we can create really great things that help us and our agencies do more with our communities and solving those big community problems. So yeah, anybody got any questions?
Did you find that, or have you heard that partnerships that were formed during COVID have kind of fallen off at this point? Groups that did get together to collaborate might not be collaborating any longer because we're not in the same situation.
True. Like our relationship with the local public health officials with Colorado has definitely waned a little bit from the height of when new mandatory mandates were coming out, like, you know, like that during COVID. Are we still doing stuff with them? Yes, but the scale has definitely lowered back because we made it through. We made it through, or we're still working in some different areas, but it's changed a lot. The nice thing is that our relationship with the state, meaning the state public health department, has continued to be present, and so hopefully that will stay. And as we need to ebb and flow, hopefully the relationships and partnerships that were built during this time will continue. But we all know how many times, like when that person leaves or changes, that ooh, we got to start sometimes all over again. Or how do we continue to nurture that relationships when our key people change in them? Because sometimes that makes it breaks it, right? You know? Yeah. And that does take time. That does take effort. And that does take nurturing for sure. And sometimes, you know, instead of having coffee, you got to up it to like an adult beverage if you do that kind of thing. Because, you know, it deepens that relationship. I'd like to say I'm joking, but I'm not. I can't tell you how many times we've met with some of these folks to go out for happy hour to really kind of get in the nitty gritty of some of those problems, and just sharing a beer and having a real conversation, not just about what we're working on in our partnership, but us as humans and what our families are doing, and what challenges we've had throughout that poop hitting the fan moment. Um, some recent ones have like come because several of us have had deaths of parents recently, and that's been like a weird bonding thing. But it helps deepen the connection, that human connection that you have during those when you're creating and building those very real partnerships with organizations. And it matters. Don't think it doesn't matter, because it does. And there you go. And I'm 1 minute over.
Said he
Ooh.
left. Okay, come on in.
Yeah.
Is he here? Oh, yeah, the training's almost over. Okay.
Yeah.
I told him that. We're gonna turn it
Great.
on.
Does
But
anybody else
we-
have
we
any
did it.
questions?
Any other questions?
Wow. Lauren, Deanna, Mark, thank you so much for the opportunity to be in Maryland with y'all today. I hope you found some of the information useful. If you have any further questions, happy to share. They have all my contact info and that kind of stuff, so happy to share any info. Or if
Thank
you're
you.
wanting to start a partnership or a relationship with some of our health organizations and stuff and just kind of want to know how to do that, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you out.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
Tasha.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
you.